Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crimes, Killers, Cults,
and beer.
Just one crazy Florida man, one crazy California man, and one crazy Texas woman.
Woohoo.
I don't think we're all drinking beer. I know I am.
I'm drinking a beer just because of this show, man.
Okay, he's got a beer. What you got?
I don't have a beer tonight. I have a Waterloo sparkling water, which I know is so bad, but, well, not so bad, but boring.
Well, you were out in the sun all day.
I was, and we drank mimosas all morning, so I was
I
was afraid I'd go to sleep on y'all if I started in on the beer now. It would be snoozing, Jessica.
So you people are wondering what the hell is going on here, and I'll tell you. Paul is doing his National Guard thing, and Todd was going to come back on for another episode, but he is having an his internet was fried by lightning, and he's been waiting 4 days for Spectrum to come out and fix it. I already had Jessica lined up to fill in for Paul. So at the last minute, when Todd told me earlier today that he wasn't able to do it, I sent a message to Matthew Brockmeyer of the Mighty Murder Coaster, and he said, yeah, I'll come in. So, yeah, we've got 3 podcasts on this episode. That's a first for us.
Hell yeah.
But all the fun people, so there you go.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, and before we get started, Matthew, I am going to give a round of applause here for your co-host on Murder Coaster, Krista Carmen, and I'll just let you say why.
Oh, Krista recently won the prestigious Bram Stoker Award, the highest honor you can get as a horror writer. So, Krista, good job. I'm so proud of you.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm proud of her. Yeah, she's
I saw it coming. I'm not even surprised. I kept telling her, I'm like, you're going to win it. She got nominated for a short story last year, actually. But I was telling her she was going to win that one, too, and she did not. So, I don't know. Well,
I mean, I would be more than happy to record the audio for her book, but I think if she wants audio, she's going to have you do it.
No, she's her publisher's already gotten that taken care of, I'm sure.
But so anyway, Matthew's been on several CKCB episodes. There was the 2-part on Ivan Milat. There was not Ivan Milat, Peter Curtin.
Peter Curtin, the Vampire de Dusseldorf.
Oh,
with
he's such a charmer.
With the scissors.
Mm.
A little different than Edward Scissorhand. Different ending.
Yeah. And and he was on the Ricky Casso episode, correct?
North Cal Rapist.
No, NorCal Racist. Racist. I did that. I did that in the episode too. I said racist instead of rapist. Yeah.
They're both bad people.
I was going to say, neither thing is good, so.
Yeah. And Jessica from Texas True Crime was on our Bernie Teed episode.
That's right.
When I didn't have a co-host, and Matt was on the Peter Curtin episode when I didn't have a co-host too. So, both of these two amazing individuals helped keep CKCB afloat when I didn't have a co-host.
That's what friends are for,
and
buddy.
It was
Absolutely.
Lots of fun to do. So.
Oh yeah. So, anyway, tonight's episode, we're going to cover a Texas case because Texas True Crime, Jessica.
Well, but you found it, so you get the credit for finding this one.
But it's got to be Texas.
Well, we did Wayne Adam Ford. I'm just remembering now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They all run together after a while.
Yeah, they all blend together.
It kind of does.
But I was just thinking, like, California Crime, and I'm like, oh, shit, we did fucking...
Yeah, we did. And then you did your own Wayne Adam Ford episode. which is awesome. I think they were both great in their own unique ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I found a very lesser known Texas serial killer that there's not very many podcast episodes out there about. And the crazy thing about it is, this guy he's one of those people that's just like, why is he not more well known? Because he's one of the worst.
He is, and then on top of it, he was one of those that it took a long time to get him caught, and then he confessed to more stuff afterwards. So why didn't he come out even maybe in the second go-round of confessions?
But we're talking about Faryion This is the first time I've ever gotten tongue-tied on the name of the subject, but he's got a weird freaking name.
Yeah, it is.
I like it. It's pretty interesting.
Faryion Wardrip.
I kept hoping they were going to say it's a family name somewhere.
Wardrip.
Yeah, it's just
Wardrip.
Maybe that's what it was that turned him to this horrible life of crime. It wasn't drugs. It was just that name. He was like, I don't know.
I think that's a pretty cool name.
I like it.
It kind of is, though. He sounds like, though, he should be a performer. Like,
it does, like a French performer.
It's Irish.
Like that.
It's
Irish.
It's fucking Irish, and it means gift of God.
I don't know about all that, but
well, depending on which God you're talking
Gaelic,
about,
right? It's a Gaelic word.
Maybe.
Wow, and it almost looks like fairy if you look at it just right.
yeah.
fairy. It's spelled Faryion.
I'm in love with this name. I'm not in love with him though.
It's a cool. No, he's a douchebag.
It's interesting. Matthew means gift of God in Hebrew.
Oh,
so we have the same name in a bizarre way.
All right, you're giving me those vibes again, Matt.
A Texas rapist vibe? I hope I'm not giving you that.
No, just closet serial killer vibes.
I only run around and kill chickens at night. I don't kill people. My lycanthropic adventures.
Oh, today, while we were at the parade...
You're so goofy.
That was a throwback to the that was a throwback to the NorCal Rapist episode.
Yeah, that's right. We were doing that pretty hard, weren't we?
Oh, this is going to be fun. I'm in a great mood. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties before we got started, but you know what? I'm ready to go now.
There we go.
So, let's get this party started, shall we?
All right.
Anyway, Faryion Edward Wardrip was born March 6, 1959 in Salem, Indiana to George and Diana Wardrip. He had two younger brothers, and he's a serial killer who raped and murdered 5 women, 4 in Wichita Falls, Texas, and 1 in Fort Worth. His spree began that we know of.
Right.
I just got to throw that in there, because you never know with these people, especially these people that have very long periods of time between their last known murder and the time that they were arrested.
Yes.
But I do think that this guy... we'll get to. I think this guy
out there? Some cold cases.
No, I think this guy only did the 5. I really do.
Okay,
and we'll get to that. But I always got to throw it in there that we know of.
It's true.
But I really do think that he only did the 5. But the spree began in '84 and ended in '86. And all of his victims were between 20 and 25 years old and weighed less than 120 pounds. And all of these women were tiny, so he definitely had a type, and he was 6'6", like, and muscular.
Wait, what did you say?
So all of his
Did you say
victims...
they were...
Huh? All of his victims
were what?
Between 20 and 25 years old, and they weighed less than 120 pounds.
Oh, okay.
They were tiny.
Yeah, they're all teeny little women.
Right.
And about 5 foot even, most of them.
Yeah. The tallest one was 5'6".
What?
6'6". He's like 2 inches taller than me.
So he's like...
and like 280
they're
pounds.
a foot and a half shorter than him. Think about that. 18 inches shorter than him. Yeah, and probably half his weight, if not more.
Oh, yeah, because he weighed about 280 pounds. I remember seeing that when I was reading about him. So I was like, okay, so
he
the
weighs
Hulk,
almost 3 times as much as them.
Yeah, so the Hulk's coming after you. What do?
Right.
Terrifying.
But, yeah, I mean, Matt, they weren't Asian.
That's what I thought you said.
No. I said all of his victims were between 20 and 20. No, it's just that's how I know.
How did you read my fucking mind, though?
Because we covered that in the NorCal Rapist episode, because his later victims were all Asians. Right.
I'm so confused, man. I'm looking at some weird shit.
Take another bong hit.
All right.
All right.
The bong's downstairs, though. I got a pipe here. I'll hit that.
That's what I mean.
Cheers.
But this was the worst crime spree in Wichita Falls history, and the case would actually go cold for 10 years, but the case was solved in one of the most unlikely of ways. Farrion had a normal upbringing. Nothing that could be deemed to be a trigger that would turn him into a monster. No abuse. No head injuries. Nothing.
That we know of.
That we know of. Yeah, I mean, there's really not a lot about his childhood. But
sometimes I wonder, I'm like, how did they know that this guy bumped his head when he was little so well? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that comes out, when they do confess, and like if they want to talk and they tell their life story and everything. A lot of that comes out with that.
I thought it would be like their mom or their sister or brother.
I would say sometimes then the family will say, well, when they were 3, they fell and hit their head, and they weren't ever really the same since.
Well, not only that. Not only that, if they say that in their interviews and everything, that when they decide after they've been arrested they want to talk, if they say something like that, then you've got these true crime people that'll go back and look into his medical history and find it and verify it. Like for example,
you can only verify it if they've been to the hospital.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it would tell the hospital and everything, and it's just like you can get that information. But
yeah, but that basically, I mean, from what my understanding, I'm not a brain surgeon, but it affects your impulse control. Right. So like it's still you're still having the dark thought. You know what I mean? It's not that isn't what caused the dark thought. That's what caused you to not act on
stop yourself.
It.
Yeah,
to stop yourself. Yeah,
you don't have that switch that goes, wait, this is wrong. Do not kill the person.
Yeah.
But nothing,
or all kinds of impulse control. A lot of them are kleptomaniacs, pyromaniacs,
animal killers,
peeping toms, which sounds so nice, like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, but it's actually a terrifying man looking in your window while he masturbates.
I know. Can you? I cannot imagine. Look, that is my biggest. I hate to have the windows open at night because I am always so worried I'm going to look out and see someone looking at me. I'm like,
that's the scariest.
Ted Bundy a lot. They'd look over and they'd see him in the window jacking off, man, staring at him. It's terrifying.
And I don't know why I'm not as worried about someone actually coming into my house, but thinking you're fine and walking through your house and then looking out the window and seeing someone looking back at you. That's just.
I like watching horror movies and everything, but and not a lot gets to me. But whenever they show a scene where there's a face in the window, it's just like ugh.
Every time. It's just terrifying that someone has been observing you and you don't have a clue, Like,
Right.
There is an amazing podcast on the Golden State Killer, and it's just called The Face in the Window.
The face in the window. Yeah.
And it's like the lady who made it's like New York Times writer and shit. It's like fucking really amazing, but
that's
it
also
it's
the
just
name
a
of a
stereotype or a trope. That
Yeah.
face in the window, man. It's so scary.
That's also the
I
name
think
of
we
an
should
Oscar.
change the name Peeping Tom because it sounds too nice.
it does. It's like, oh, he's just peeking. Like, no,
Yeah.
he's the creeper. No. Ah.
How about peeping?
No peeping. That sounds
Nope.
too nice.
Yeah.
And add the masturbation into it. And you know what I mean? How about masturbating deviant psycho or something like that? You know what I mean?
How about jerking John?
Jerking John. Honey, I think we got another Jerking John. Get me the shotgun loaded up with butt salt.
By the way, Faces in the Window, that's also the name of a very awesome Dio song.
Nice.
But got to throw metal in here.
Oh,
whenever
his
we
son
can.
is a fan of mine.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't even know he had a son. Well,
Yeah.
I just
Fan of my
don't know
writing.
that. I mean, he is a Ronnie James Dio was one of the greatest singers of all time, and but that's about all I know about him. I don't really know much about his personal life or anything like that. But but he
Do you like him better than Ozzy?
huh?
Do you like him better than Ozzy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well.
I'm a singer though.
He can hit the notes. He can hit
hit-
the notes.
Ronnie James Dio had one of the most distinct voices that there's ever been. You hear
So did
a
Ozzy.
split. I like Dio
I mean,
more.
I mean, technically, Dio's a better singer. He can hit the notes.
Right.
True. Yes.
But he's not Ozzy.
I like the Dio. I like the Dio era Black
with
Sabbath.
Dio.
Yeah. And then when they came back together in the '90s for to do that album, that song Time Machine, that's fucking gold.
Nice.
But anyway, but yeah, that's hot take. Hashtag, but I digress. But anyway, Faryion dropped out of high school in the 12th grade. And I'm like, why? You're nearing the end of the race. Why drop out in the middle
Okay.
of 12th grade? You're almost there.
That was the other thing. I was like, you've gotten this far. You can't wait a few months? What the heck? Like, come on, guy. Hang in there. But at the same time, again, most of the time, serial killers, it's like, oh, they didn't get past 6th grade. Again, supposedly no abuse, no head trauma. Dude, you made it all the way to 12th grade. Like, all the factors aren't your typical factors, aren't
Right.
there.
Oh, yeah, but they can vary. We did that one freeway killer, Patrick Kieran's. Is that his
Yeah.
name, right?
Kearney,
And,
Kearney.
I mean, he had a kill count that was out of control, and he had
Yeah.
an IQ of 186, and
Oh, yeah.
worked for the military developing satellites in the 1960s. And his parents were like real nice and cool.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I know.
he
it
had the
can
shit
be
bullied out of him in school. There's always something.
Reminds me
It's
of
impulse control, man.
impulse. Well, and there's been all those studies that if certain people's brains are just wired different, and you're more predisposed to behavior that way. No one wants to hear that, but they have
but-
done these studies. that
And
show.
you could be like that with your brain wired differently, where you didn't have fear, you had weird impulse control, and
Right.
you could become a jet pilot or
Right.
a fireman and run into a burning building and save people.
Yes, and so it
Or
all
you
just
could think
depends-
about murdering women and raping their dead bodies. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
right.
yeah.
It just depends on which avenue it takes. Right, exactly. Some people end up using it for something really great, and then others are like, "Let me put this person in my freezer." Yeah.
Yes. Some people become heart surgeons. Other people are like, let me put this corpse in my freezer.
Yes.
It should be a good T-shirt.
they're both cutting into people.
That's
I know. That's what I'm saying. And they both have no qualms over it, no fear over
Right.
it. I mean, imagine being able to do that, to open somebody up and look at their heart and shit. And one's doing it for good and one's doing it for
Yeah.
evil. But
It's
I don't think I
just-
could do either one of them. You know? Like,
no.
Yeah.
No. I mean, because
But-
to me, that's a surgeon, that job, like one little move, and that's it. I can't, the stress of that, just.
Yeah. Ugh.
Totally.
Yuck. So, but Faryion joined the National Guard at 19 years old in 1978. And no, I didn't pick this case because Paul is on National Guard duty right now. Paul is
Or
an
is
amazing.
He's not in Texas right now, is he?
No, he's in Florida. He's an
that's
amazing
even
National
worse.
Guardsman. He's asshole.
I mean, I live in a place that's the most normal place in the world where nothing bad ever happens. California's nothing
Really?
weird has ever happened here. Yeah.
No, nothing. No,
Nah.
not the
Wholesome.
hot spot for serial killers and stuff like that. And they made
Hell
an entire Netflix series about your neck of the woods.
Oh, they made that up to be shocking. Murder Mountain. Give me a break.
You live on Murder Mountain.
It's Manslaughter Hill at the most.
Well, anyway, we got a ways to go. So yeah, we're still on page 1. So, but Paul's an amazing National Guardsman, and Faryion Wardrip was a lot of things, but a good soldier was not one of them. He was in for 6 years, and he was booted on a dishonorable discharge for smoking pot, disorderly conduct, and he was busted several times for being AWOL from the morning count.
Damn, I kind of like him now.
And this wasn't due to PTSD either. I mean, Faryion Wardrip never saw any war.
It was the 80s.
78, yeah.
Oh, 78. All right. Yeah, well, Vietnam
but
War was
still,
over by then.
It was over by then. But sources for this are Shattered, Season 2, Episode 1, Forensic Files, Season 18, Episode 4, and Wiki. Because surprisingly enough, there's a shitload of information about this guy on Wiki. It's like, as far as like a serial killer, I've never seen that much information about a serial killer on Wikipedia. There's more information
Some of
on
them
him
have
than there
some
is on
surprising
Edmund
stuff.
Kemper.
Is there really? I think there'd be a lot on that guy.
It was kind of amazing how much information was just on the wiki page about him.
Yeah, so I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Wiki is a prominent source in this one because it's there.
I always use Wikipedia as
I fact checked it.
Almost
I
like a
fact-checked it.
backup, a fact checker. Look through it,
Yes.
just it flips.
I
through
fact
just
checked
to make
it.
Sure.
It was on. Whoever wrote that article was on point. So, March of 1983, Wardrip, at 24 years old, married his first wife, 24-year-old Gianna Jackson. They had 2 kids together, but Faryion Wardrip was a lot of things, but a good husband was not one of them.
Surprise.
He was frequently using drugs, constantly drunk, and he was abusive. And
Well, only the abusive thing's bad.
huh?
Nothing. I'm just kidding.
I
Well,
didn't
the
know
first 2 aren't bad.
Well, if you let it consume you and don't know how to
Depends on the
manage,
drug.
Yeah. But during this time, he had a janitor at the Wichita Falls General Hospital. He was promoted to an orderly. He went from janitor to orderly, so instead of cleaning clogged toilets, he was changing dirty bed sheets
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to go to
And
nursing
bedpans.
school or anything to do that, or
and bedpans. And there
that's
there
good,
might
honest
have
work. There's nothing wrong with that.
there might have been about a $1 an hour raise between the two.
I was going to say. I can't
I'd
imagine
rather-
it was a lot.
I would have been like, just keep me on janitor. I don't want to mess with dirty bed sheets. Yuck.
Well, he's a people person. He's got good bedside manner.
He does. But he didn't last very long because he bounced from job to job due to his addictions. Gianna's parents had to constantly help them with money for bills.
What drugs is he on?
Everything.
I mean, I didn't really see like
ayahuasca and peyote.
I couldn't really find a list and everything, but it's just like he was on things that like literally blacked out his memory for like extended periods of time.
Xanax and stuff, like probably pills he's stealing from the hospital.
That's what I wondered, because it wasn't ever very specific what
it wasn't.
he did. Just that his drug addiction was what caused so many of his personality issues.
You probably like handfuls of Valium and Xanax and Klonopin, shit like that. All those anxiety reducing pills and stuff.
But he was also doing coke.
Barbiturates.
Coke and pot, and I know pot doesn't. I know, but I don't need the lecture, Matt. Stop it. Reel it back.
Damn you to hell, Bill. How dare you mention it?
Because I know you were about to be like, "Oh, pot." No, he did smoke pot a lot, but
that's why he got kicked out of the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a lot else, a lot as well too. But in 1985, Gianna filed for divorce and left Wardrip. And she took the kids with her, and the divorce was granted in 1986. So prior to her filing for divorce, he had already begun raping and killing. And there's no word on whether or not she knew that he was doing this, and I'm guessing that she did not. So,
all right.
Yeah. So prior to her filing the divorce, Faryion had already begun raping and killing. And there's no word on whether or not she knew that he was doing this, and I'm guessing that she did not. She's not Jerry Brutos'
probably
wife.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
I'm gonna hope not.
Yeah, she's not Jerry Brutos. She got the hell out of. She got the hell out of there. So
I was gonna say she wanted out. She left him, so I feel like she did not know.
Has she spoken about why she left or what he was like? Was he pouring some crazy shit in the bedroom?
I couldn't find anything about that. Nothing. She just basically.
I was thinking like Wayne Adam Ford's wife and his girlfriends. They all came and talked, and they're like, he seemed like this great guy. Everything was going good, and as soon as like we got into a formal commitment, he just
Gianna basically faded into obscurity.
Okay. There's probably something there to scare her off. I mean, obviously it wasn't.
Well, I know her parents
he was
just
a
basically
douchebag.
Supported him. He couldn't even
support
her
parents
him.
Her parents hated him.
Well,
but
I'm sure
they were still supporting because of the grandkids,
Right. I mean, I'm sure if nothing else, they were just like, well, he's worthless. He can't even take care of his family. You know what I mean?
How long were they married?
Not long. They got married. Hold on, let me go back up. 83. The divorce was finalized in 86.
Okay.
And they had 2 kids during that time. So. Okay. Now, we're getting into Moida. Jerry Sims.
Murder, you say?
No, I said a moiter.
A moida, you say?
Killing.
Terry Sims was a 20-year-old EKG specialist at Bethania Hospital in Wichita Falls. And I kind of find it hard to... It's just weird to me that Wichita Falls has 2 hospitals at this time. It's a like bigger city now than it was back then, but back then it had to have been tiny.
I don't know, but yeah, now I could see it, but it is a little surprising,
but for back then, but still.
Yeah.
But she was attending Midwestern State University, and she wrapped up her shift one night at 11 p.m. on December 20th, 1984. And she and a coworker had went to a friend's house to exchange gifts, and later she was going to crash at another friend's house and help her study. But that friend, Lisa Boone, she hadn't been there for very long before she got a call to come back and work the night shift as well. Double shifts. Yeah. But Boone took Sims to her apartment, to Boone's apartment, and gave her a key. She just dropped her off and handed her, here's my apartment key. Just go in and I'll be back when I get off my shift. And then she went into work. Later that night, Terry heard some chucklehead making a commotion outside. She went out to investigate. Never go out to investigate.
Mm-mm.
But as soon as Faryion Wardrip saw her, he charged at her, and she ran back into the apartment and locked the door. But Wardrip broke the door down, and she was no match for him. Wardrip was 6'6", 220. No, not 280, but 220.
Okay, 220.
They're in an apartment complex?
This is what gets me. How did no one hear all this?
And he was making enough. What the fuck was he doing out there? Does anybody to elicit her response?
He was blitzed on drugs, and he was just out there going, hey! And he may have been stalking her.
She's in a psychotic state.
Yeah.
He
may have been stalking her, but this one I'm not sure. Others he did stalk. This one I'm not sure. I think that he was just blitzed out of his mind because he did get arrested for drunk and disorderly, on multiple occasions.
Did he?
Yes. Mm. So it's just
alcohol is probably a huge thing.
Could be. Some people can't handle their alcohol.
Dude, alcohol is usually that's what you get, like a monster like that.
Yeah.
And he just charges her and breaks down the door. Fucking hell.
I just still, though, can't imagine how no one else heard. It's an apartment complex. No one else heard anything. Right. No one thought, why is there someone breaking down a door? That's crazy.
And that's not a bad neighborhood, right? That's a fairly...
No. I mean, Wichita Falls, I'm sure it had its bad neighborhoods and everything. And usually, a lot of times hospitals are situated, pretty close to bad neighborhoods, but especially in small towns. But the thing is, I don't know. I don't know why nobody heard anything.
Yeah. I don't know. Really, that just struck me as odd that the friend showed back up and had to go into the apartment. You know what I mean? Like, nobody heard anything. There was no reports or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this isn't a big city to where people keep quiet when they hear things. Yeah.
Well, and it's Texas. We have guns. I'm surprised no one came out with a shotgun and was like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Well, maybe it was a situation where, it was single-story apartments. Mm-hmm. And the two units on either side of her were both empty, or nobody was home,
or she was on an end.
Yeah, maybe.
Or on an end.
On the end.
Yeah. That's what? That's probably what it was. But he grabbed her, tied her up, violently raped her, and stabbed her to death, and he left her for dead. Although the coroner estimated that she had, he didn't kill her. She was alive for a few minutes after he left her. And that's, if you're going to kill me, kill me. Don't leave me for dead.
Oh, yeah. Just get it done. No.
Yeah. Next morning, Boone came home from work, and she knocked, and there was no answer because, she didn't have her key because Terry Sims had it. She went to the landlord who gave her a key, and she went in and found the apartment ransacked. She bolted back to the landlord, and the two of them searched the apartment and found Terry dead on the bathroom floor in a pool of blood. They called the police, who took semen from the scene, and they were able to lift a bloody fingerprint from one of her shoes and put a knife in that. But almost a month later, I can't do sound effects on this because I don't have them loaded up.
I have super high-tech sound effects.
That's not a knife. God, I haven't done that yet. I need to. But almost a month later, Tony Jean Gibbs disappeared from Wichita General Hospital, where Wardrip was still working at the time. So he knew Tony, and she saw him, but she knew him. She didn't like him, though, because he was creepy. And he was hitting on her. And, but still, she's nice lady, saw him out, like, stumbling all over himself and everything. And, so she's like, look at this idiot. So she pulls up next to him. She's like, you want to ride home? He's like, yeah. And then as soon as he got into her car, he attacked her and forced her to drive to a deserted road. And he knew this. He knew this girl. This girl knew him. But once again,
don't ever let the creepy man get in the car with you. Just
no.
Don't.
I mean, I'm sick.
It sucks though. You see someone you know.
I'm
6'4". You want to assume that they're cool, but
I know you do.
Makes
but
you so sad for the world,
It does, but you know what? I tell my girls all the time, that little warning voice. Do not worry about being polite. You listen to that voice that says, "Ooh, not good." I said, I don't want you to be polite. I want you to be safe. And she thought he was a creeper, but she was trying to be nice. And
but both of these, no, don't be nice to somebody who you think is a creeper.
Right. Don't worry about being polite. Just listen to the little voice that says not a good thing,
But the thing is, with Terry Sims and now with her, he wasn't necessarily stalking either of them. It's just he was
an opportunity killer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. He was just like
a drunken opportunity killer. So sloppy, disorganized.
Lucky. He's lucky that he didn't get caught before.
Yeah.
Right. And
he's a process killer. He's doing it for the process. He's doing it for the thrill. He's not doing it for the end result.
Right.
So 2 days later, her car was found on another deserted road, only a couple miles from Wardrip's house. This time, Faryion didn't leave any fingerprints or semen, and in the car. So he must have had gloves on at the time. Either that, or I don't know, or he didn't touch anything. But
no, he's wearing gloves.
Yeah, probably. But
you gotta touch
but
things.
I say, even just getting in and out,
Yeah, totally.
He raped and murdered her outside the car, and we're going to get to the details of that right now. So no need to put a knife in it.
Ring.
A month later, an electric worker found Tony's body in a field along US 281. And on this field, there was an old rusted-out bus. And Wardrip had raped her and left her for dead inside the bus, but she crawled out of the bus trying to get help, but she bled out and died about 100 feet away from it.
That's the worst.
Yeah. The bus was splattered with blood as well as Tony's clothes were still in there and covered with blood, obviously. And the blood matched Tony's, and Tony had been stabbed 8 times, and she had defensive wounds on her hands. Now, I couldn't find this in any of my research, but a couple of the podcasts I listened to said that the electric worker thought it was a mannequin, and we don't even need to go there, do we? We all know it's never a fucking mannequin.
Yeah. And
except for what's his name, that oh god, like he remember he had the indoor pool, and he would when his wife went out of town. What is his name again?
Baumeister.
Yes, Baumeister. It wasn't mannequins, remember? He had mannequins all around his fucking swimming pool. So creepy and weird.
But nobody found those mannequins. Nobody found a dead body and said, "I thought it was a mannequin," and it's like, "Oh my god, that's a dead body." Nope, it's a mannequin.
Well, his son found a skeleton,
right.
And he said that it was a medical skeleton that he had gotten, and he had just thrown in the woods.
Right.
But that doesn't count. It wasn't a mannequin.
Fun fact. Herb Baumeister was an episode on Herb Baumeister on a now long defunct podcast was the first true crime podcast episode that I ever listened to.
You know, they're
Fun
thinking
fact.
that he's what is the I-70 killer? Wait, is that right? They think they're putting him together with all these other crimes right now too.
As well as Israel Keys.
Oh yeah, well he's
Well,
Who
I
knows
figured
what that
they're
guy
just
is.
going to pop up for years.
For Keys, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All over the country, man.
Yeah.
That guy. He wasn't around long enough to
So creepy.
come near Samuel Little's body count, but
No,
but he would have been if he hadn't gotten caught.
Oh, easily, yes. Because
Well, they all would have been if they hadn't gotten caught.
True. Not this guy though. Not this guy. We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
But okay. 24-year-old Danny Laughlin was a male stripper, and he was suspected of Tony's murder because he had ridden his motorcycle around. He had one of those little dirt bikes. He had around it. Yeah.
I'll do the sound effects for the show.
I can get my guitar. But he was riding his motorcycle in that field where she was found, but he had met Tony at a bar a few weeks prior before she was murdered, and when they brought him in for questioning because he had been seen riding his bike in this same thing, the same field. He failed a polygraph test and he was acting suspicious. He was making comments that placed him at the scene of the crime. His
Polygraph tests are a bunch of bullshit, dude.
They are, but he didn't do himself any favors because he was just like, yeah, I was there.
He
I didn't
failed
see
his
her.
he failed his fucking he failed his polygraph test and oh god, I know his name. The first kid that was at the Manson at the La Bianca house. I mean, at the Tate house. God, I'm so sorry. In the pool room, and I know his name. But anyway, he was like there in another building as the murders happened, and they originally suspected him, and he failed a polygraph test.
Right. Well, failing a polygraph
And
test
Pee Wee
doesn't mean
Gaskins
anything.
could pass or fail. He could on whim.
I mean, that's just really how little conscience you have because you don't react. You're just like, whatever. I mean,
And
really.
Gary Ridgway passed on.
Yes?
A lot of them passed him.
It is, and you're absolutely right, Jessica. It's like your conscience. It's like you don't give a fuck. If you're a sociopath, why would you?
Right.
Why would it bother you to lie?
Right. You're that's how you get through the world anyway, is pretending to be a normal person. So you're just going to put on another face and just everything will just be nice and even. Yeah.
Absolutely, so true.
So, his
I can't tell
DNA
my wife
was-
I didn't do the dishes. I'll fucking start blushing and sweating.
Okay. Now this was weird to me because they could do DNA testing at that time was in its infancy. They could if they had a good enough sample, they could compare it to another good enough sample. But
Right.
at the time, because they were testing for it then. Although in this case with Danny Laughlin, it was inconclusive. But Laughlin was charged, and the prosecutors went ahead with the case with only circumstantial evidence. The jury was deadlocked, and they declared a mistrial, and he was released. Only one of the 12 jurors thought that he was guilty, and the case was not retried.
I'm gonna put out a little theory here. All right, the male stripper on the dirt bike is never guilty.
You're right.
It's just too obvious. Like, come on.
Yeah, he's cool. He's just like.
Well, so he was just having a good time riding his dirt bike. He was not out trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah, the male stripper. If he's
He's a
involved
lover,
in the
not a
case,
fighter.
no,
Boom.
he's gonna be a fucking victim.
Could be, yeah.
Especially if it was
not a
Ron
mannequin.
Dominique.
Yeah.
So many of them, man.
Because I was a male stripper when I encountered Ron Dominique.
You were a male stripper, Bill?
Once. In New Orleans.
Really?
Go listen to that episode, man. I tell the whole story.
Is this the very first episode?
No, it was, I don't know. I think it was like episode 39 or something like that.
Well, you heard that, folks. Go listen to episode 30 to hear how Bill was once a male stripper.
Once. Neither one of you have listened to that episode?
I have not listened to that one. No, I've listened to so many, but not that one. Now I've got to go.
Ron Dominique. Oh, that episode? You think this episode's been cursed with all the technical difficulties we had? That one? It took us like over. And Mark from Mental Illness Theater was a guest on that one, and it took us over 6 hours to get through that episode because anything
Jesus
that
Christ.
could go wrong did.
Oh my gosh!
And by the end of it, oh my God, we were. Todd and I were just blitzed, hammered, and Mark was like stoned out of his mind at that point. But and I'm talking in that episode, and I'm just like, well, I did, but I listened to it, I got through it. Yeah, I sound like the fucking drunk guy at the bar because I was, but I got through it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to mess with it. I got through the story. And we talked and we make mention, a lot was edited out of that, obviously. But I was just like, yeah, we got through it, and I'm just going to leave it as is. Ron Dominique episode. I think it's 39. But 2 months
We're
after
a sober
killing Tony,
episode. We're a sober show.
Yeah. Ooh.
you might be. You got pretty
maybe.
You got pretty blitzed on our on Peter Curtin and Wayne Adam
No,
Ford.
I get fucked up on your shit. Yeah, but like I stay sober on my own. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I've been on some podcasts. My friends' horror movies and shit. They're an awesome podcast. They're really funny, but man, they really encourage you to get fucking wasted. It's like dangerous. I've been on there with there's like a whole bunch of people, and some of them, people are like passing out and shit.
Oh man, that kind of makes it hard to finish the episode though when you're passed out.
Yeah.
My old radio show, the Will and Thunder show. Thunder on one episode, like literally passed out and started snoring on the episode. I kid you not.
That's good radio there.
It was. But it's gone. It's lost. I don't have it. God damn it. I've been thinking about like taking one of those old episodes and releasing it as bonus because I make reference to the old radio show all the time. Well, not all the time, but from time to time. But I can't. The audio quality on it is so horrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, 2 months after killing Tony Gibbs, Wardrip went to Fort Worth, Texas. He was looking for a new job, a new start on life. Fort Worth is about 100 miles from Wichita Falls. There, he met Deborah Sue Taylor at a bar. And Deborah had been at a barbecue with her husband, Ken, but she decided that she wasn't done yet. Ken went to bed because he had to be up for work in the morning. But Deborah went to the bar alone, and this couple had 2 kids. Wardrip asked her to dance. Maybe it was just 1 kid. I'm not sure. I thought it said 2 kids, but
She was married with children.
Yeah, the number. There's only 1 kid that comes up later in the episode. Wardrip asked her to dance, and she accepted. He later offered her a ride home, which she also accepted. But when they got into the parking lot, he tried to make a move on her, and she shot him down. Wardrip got butthurt over that, and he killed her and dumped her body at a construction site. Deborah's husband, Ken, reported Deborah missing the next day after calling all of their friends and family, even the hospitals and even the jail. Tragically, this mirrors the Vicky Regularly murder by BTK. Her husband, Bill, was suspected in the murder, and it ruined his life, and the same thing happened to Ken.
I was going to say, yeah.
And that's what's so sad. This poor man.
Yeah, but 99.09% of the time it would have been him. This is the sad thing.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah.
Because it's always the spouse.
I mean, you always hear about this with like serial killers, like some husband who was accused of it and it ruined his life, you know.
Yeah.
And then you go on Reddit and there's still people going, well, maybe he did do it.
Maybe. Oh, I know. You're right. He didn't. Y'all leave this poor man alone. Yes.
Yeah, Ken did not do it. But anyway, put a knife in that.
Right.
5 days later, March 29th, 1985, Deborah's body was found. It's always the spouse. When her body was found, he was summoned to the police department for questioning. He was taken to the medical examiner to a glass window with a window covering it. They whipped the curtain open, and there on the table was his wife, although she was so badly decomposed he didn't even recognize her. And he actually denied that was Deborah. Yeah, he said that was the most horrible thing that he had ever seen in his life, and that, and he actually said that 5 days in the Texas sun, nobody's pretty.
No. I mean, that's the thing. That's awful. It's just awful. That poor man.
Oh, I focused on this guy a lot in this episode because it's just like...
I don't know. I kind of still think he's guilty.
Has to be the husband,
man.
right?
It's always him. Go on.
They said, well, maybe this will help you, and they showed him her wedding rings and necklace.
Oh.
Ken lost
brutal.
it right. Yeah, Ken lost it right then and there, but the police weren't convinced. He said that image of Deborah in that condition was seared into his mind and has never gone away. He passed 3 polygraph tests, but he was still a suspect. They wanted him to remove his shirt so that they could search
Gary
his body
Ridgway
for...
passed a lie detector test, and they were like, "You're free to go, buddy."
But hold on, check this out.
You must be innocent.
Please go murder
this
some
is-
more people.
Yeah.
This is Texas. though. They wanted him to remove his shirt.
Texas. Why didn't they electrocute him right away?
But they wanted him to remove his shirt so that they could search his body for scratches because Deborah had apparently put up a fight. She had skin tissues under her fingernails, and of course there was nothing. Ken had no criminal charges, no incidents of violence, not even a traffic ticket. He was squeaky clean, but that didn't matter. As far as the police was concerned, Ken was the guy.
No,
Yeah,
if she had all that skin under her fingernails and stuff, and he doesn't have a
I
scratch
know.
on him, to me
Yeah.
I
that's
know.
big right there. That's huge.
Yeah.
Members of both his and Deborah's families turned against him. Ken even lost his job. They gave him a bullshit excuse of him not calling in every single day that he was out when he took times off for his wife's murder. He had been at that job for 10 years, and he was a top employee. His former boss even torpedoed him when he was trying to get a new job. Like when an employer would call for a reference, he would tell him that Ken had killed his wife.
Jesus Christ.
That's awful.
On top of everything else, Ken had to tell their little girl that she wouldn't be able to see her mommy anymore because she had gone up to heaven. For 10 years. And I'm only going deep on this because I fucking hate this shit. I mean, Ken endured sneers and jeers, police following him everywhere he went. This is the worst. If everything else, this is the worst. Ken had a best friend, ride or die guy in high school. but said friend had moved away. All of a sudden, that friend shows up at his place trying to get, and just starts talking to him. What happened? What did you do?
You never trust a writer.
He was wearing a fucking wire.
Yeah. If you're into true crime and you're a writer, they're awful. They're the worst people ever.
The police got to him, tracked him down to wherever the fuck he lived, and then they're like, "Hey, would you wear a wire?"
Well, did he confess to him?
No, because he didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
Well, that's good. Imagine if he had confessed.
Well,
some weird like
then there would be a one-off true crime episode with a.
Well, I told you, I think he did it. So
poor Ken.
Oh, poor guy. That's awful, man. Yeah.
But I guess Wardrip.
But then again, this is the one guy that didn't do it. You know what I mean? Let's face it. All the rest of them did.
I mean, yes. I mean, 99.9% of the time, it's the spouse. And then this poor man really did love his wife and did nothing, and he's just crucified.
Yeah. The way of the world, man. It's crazy.
I have more commentary on that later in the episode. But I guess Wardrip didn't find a job in Fort Worth because later that year in 1985, on September 20th, he was in Wichita Falls and he abducted 21-year-old Ellen Blau, who was a student at Midwestern State University. She worked nights as a waitress, and Wardrip had grabbed her as she was leaving her job. He forced her to drive to a deserted road where he raped her, and after some time he broke her neck. And he dumped her body, then drove her car and abandoned it, and her blood was found in the vehicle. Her body was found...
The neck breaking, man, how exactly do you do that? I remember one of Wayne Adams Ford's victims had their back broke, and you're just like, the fuck did you do to them, man? Like...
Yeah.
Was he jumping up and down on him, you think? Or...
I don't know, but he's so much bigger than all of his victims. I guess he could just grab...
You think he could do it with his hands?
That's what I wonder. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know how easy that would... the movies, you see it all the time.
They do all kinds of stupid shit.
Right.
Movies.
But I don't know... Well, that's what I say, but I don't know in real life how simple that really is. But I do know...
I heard that is simple. I heard you can do that.
So, I mean, he is... And he's so much bigger than these women. Maybe it is...
I heard you take the head and you put it like that, and you crank it like that.
I mean, I don't, I mean, maybe just the size difference between him and his victims.
You broke my heart.
I broke her back, so... No, that's not funny. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I was going for a Godfather reference
there. That is some fucked up shit. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back.
Pulled me back in. Oh, man.
Godfather
Her
Part
body
3.
was the weakest of the three Godfathers, but still a very good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been better with Winona Ryder. I don't know. Having his daughter in there. I love her. She's a great director and all, but...
Yeah, but
his daughter was not the best actress.
But she's not a very good actress. Talented in her own right, but yeah.
She's never put herself in her own movies, has she? She wasn't playing Priscilla Presley.
True.
But anyway, but I digress. Her body was found by a road worker 3 weeks later. She was at advanced decomp and had to be identified through dental records, and it's not 100% known if she was raped, but her pants have been pulled down. No semen was found, but that doesn't mean anything. Later on, when Wardrip had been caught, one of Ellen's co-workers said that she had lived in the same apartment complex as Wardrip and that he had always given her the creeps.
That seems to be his descriptor for anyone who comes into contact with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you know you're bad then because like most serial killers are always like, I thought he was the nicest
I never saw
guy.
it coming.
He was
seems
such
so
an
normal.
unassuming young man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a smile that lit up the room.
Right.
No, that wasn't him. That was the victim. You.
That's why the victim. I know. I was like, listen.
My bad.
No
My
one
bad.
ever described me that way. That way I have a long, healthy life. Nobody say that.
They just lie anyway.
That's right.
She was a great finger painter. She gardened, I think, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I'm always, you know what, and this is going to sound so cynical of me, but everyone always says that about a victim. No one ever is like, they were the worst person ever. Yeah.
Actually, we've covered a few. We've covered a few that did deserve it. Henry Lee Lucas's mother.
True.
Gypsy Rose's mother.
Yes.
I guess. On the fence about it. If she actually deserved to be. I mean, she was an awful, awful person, but I don't know. I mean, and I don't believe anyone deserves to be murdered, you know. But but it is funny with true crime books because we were doing Ing and Leonard Lake, and they killed their neighbor, and the book says like, oh, the neighbor was a guy, and they're like, and they literally said that like he had such a wonderful smile and such a great laugh, and then like literally like a paragraph later, they're like, he was a violent crystal methamphetamine addict and was like wanted by all these people, and you're like, dude, you know when they first introduce him, they got to be like, he had a wonderful smile,
right? That's what I mean. Like no one ever says they were a rotten individual. Like no one ever says that, and not that you deserve to be murdered.
Well,
I agree.
That's just the thing. That's just the thing. 9 times out of 10, pieces of shit don't get killed.
Well, I guess because they're too awful. Also, no one wants to mess with them either. So, or they would have said, "You can't get in my car. I'm not giving you a ride," because they're assholes anyway. So there you go.
So.
Victims deserve to be heard. Their voices, they need to be talked about. They need to be told. But can I say something that's not going to go over well with the politically correct? Come on, the killer's what you want to hear about. It's like it's fascinating. You know what I mean? The psychology, the upbringing. What made them like this? How did they get like this?
Right.
I want to hear about. I mean, the victims are important. Don't get me wrong, but like,
no.
Tell me about the fucking killer, dude. You know what I mean?
But there's nothing. But there's nothing about that in this case.
That's what's weird, yeah. Because I was like, I'm going to read up on this, so I have some, I know what's going on, but that's it. There's none of those things that make you go, "What made him tick?" Because I agree with you. Yes, victims.
Jessica,
should be heard.
you're there in Texas. You need to get some on the ground reporting. You should write a book on this.
I guess I should get myself up to Wichita Falls.
Yeah, start doing interviews. Start talking. It was like the late '80s and early '90s. Wasn't that long ago?
Not terribly, no. But I agree with you, though. I do. I want to know what makes people like that tick. What is it that switches that you go, this is okay for me. This is the path I want to take. I would like to rape and murder people and put them in my freezer or save a body part for a souvenir. Like, what happened to you? What made that happen?
They're fucking freaks, man. It's a freak show.
But the thing about it, Matt, this is the second in a row because there's no background information on the North.
I think there's more on him than there was on that guy. There was nothing on that guy. And actually, I think I googled it real quick, and it does seem that there is a couple books written on this guy.
Oh, Farragon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really?
Like there's 2.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
I looked for books on him. When I found him, I looked for a book.
Go to the very end of the Wikipedia page, dog. And it's where it says other media.
I was surprised, though, at how many, true crime documentaries were on him, though, considering that he's not really
I used 2.
Yeah. Well, I heard you when you mentioned him, but that surprised me when I saw those because I thought, well, wow, he's even been on Investigation Discovery and,
I didn't use that one. I didn't find that one. But,
well, there's just, I was surprised that there were several,
Yeah. I was surprised to find 2.
Yeah.
But May 6th in 1986, Wardrip killed another woman that he knew, 21-year-old Tina Kimbrough. She was a waitress at a bar, and he had struck up a friendship with her. And she knew about his drug problems, and she was being nice to him. So to repay her kindness, he went to her apartment, knocked on the door, and when she let him in, he suffocated her with a pillow on her sofa.
And so this is so strange. So he kills women he doesn't know. He kills women he does know. It's pretty much opportunities. He stabbed them, right? Didn't he stab the one?
Yeah, several.
He's strangling.
Yeah.
He's suffocating another. He's all over the place.
He's blitzed out of his mind.
Them either. You know,
What
that's
drugs is he on?
I know. That's.
I mean, because he's not obviously not on
I can't
heroin.
find it.
This
But you
is
wanna
like
know
you don't
what?
have enough energy. Is he smoking crack and drinking whiskey or something like that?
I feel like for him, it's more the alcohol. It seems like
I
he's
think you're
always
right.
at bars. It seems like there's, you know, I'm wondering if he's just one of
Blackout
these
drunk, dude.
Yes,
Yeah,
and just
totally.
you know, everyone's met that mean drunk that's out of control, and he's just to the next level. You know.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah,
as
vodka,
both of
I
you
bet,
look
is
at,
the culprit here.
Maybe.
as both of you look at me.
Yeah, but beer doesn't do that usually. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
Beer's.
no, it's usually
I mean, it
like
can
hard
to
liquor.
some people, but yeah.
Yeah, but he would later say that he had done it because she reminded him of his ex-wife, and lots of serial killers say this.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
He said that he just went off the bat, screaming at her, telling her that he hated her, and all of his problems were her fault. He's like addressing his ex-wife.
What's a fantasy? He's taking the fantasy of killing his wife and making it real.
And you know what? Did it ever say what Jonna's stature was like? I'm guessing maybe she's a small woman too.
Oh yeah, she had to have been. It didn't say that.
Right?
But I'm thinking that,
yeah.
like you said, it's a fantasy. It's something related to his, still being mad about the divorce and how everything went down. I wonder about that.
Right.
Because he's obviously got a type.
On this one, there was no signs of rape either. Although, she did have fibers in her lungs that matched the fibers on the sofa. So
What does that mean?
He smuggled her to death he smothered her to death with a pillow. From
But
her
no
couch.
sperm, you're saying, no semen.
He didn't rape her.
Well, a lot of times these guys, as they amp up, it starts with rape, and then the murdering is so intense and such a sexual stimulation for them that they just fucking squirt in their pants, man.
That's enough. That's enough for them there.
That's enough for them. They climax. They don't even need to do the actual rape anymore.
But before Tina was found, neighbors had reported that a tall man with dark brown hair and a baseball cap leaving the complex. He had obviously gotten out of there in a hurry, and nobody recognized him. Denny Laughlin was the first name that they thought of, but he didn't fit the description. So even though he had been found, mistrial.
With the male stripper again?
The male stripper.
Yeah, they came back to that.
Jesus
poor guy.
Christ, leave this guy alone. He just wants to ride a dirt bike around.
I know.
Yeah.
And
I feel more sorry for him than I do that murdering husband.
Yeah. On May 19th, May 9th, 1986, Wardrip was 400. What? Am I missing?
The murdering husband.
I'm cracking myself up, and Jessica's
I'm just
too,
getting
hopefully.
tickled. Yes, that murdering husband.
On May 9th, 1986, Wardrip was 400 miles away from Wichita Falls in Galveston. And
Why do killers want to go to Galveston? Robert Durst fled to Galveston. What is up with this? It's a nice little town on the coast. I don't.
Dude, he was here at Humboldt too. You know about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
she just did like a 3-parter on Durst.
Oh, that's right. I know that. Yeah.
And like one of those poor girls that was in your area, he shipped her in a box. Like
What? No.
He got a furniture box, and they never could find her. But he requested a furniture box and then shipped it out the next day after she went missing. And they haven't found it, but they're convinced that he murdered her and then shipped her off in the furniture crate. Yeah.
I gotta listen to your episodes. I'm gonna go do that.
So he's you talk about a scary man. Oof.
Yeah, Texas True
I don't know
True
that
Crime.
much about him. Yeah.
Texas True Crime is one of the podcasts that I listen to every single week when a new
She's
episode
good.
comes out.
And the stuff's tight. It's very nicely well recorded and everything. Yeah, Texas True Crime. Definitely
Thanks.
listen to it. Great
Thanks,
stuff.
y'all. I listen to y'all every week too. Y'all are some of my favorites. So look at us with our mutual admiration society going on right here.
So, on May 9th, 1986, Wardrip was 400 miles away from Wichita Falls in Galveston. And he called the police saying that he had information about Tina's murder. And he also, he was also threatening to kill himself. And the police responded, and Wardrip confessed to Tina's murder, which strikes me as freaking odd, because he didn't have
That's
any
what's so weird to
remorse.
me.
Yeah.
I mean, he had no remorse for anybody else.
Right. I'm
Why
getting to
did he
that.
call in? I don't understand. Was he in the middle of a psychotic break? He was trying to kill
Yes.
himself?
I don't think he was.
And
trying
they weren't
kill
on to
himself.
him? They had absolutely no clue that it was him?
Hold on.
He wasn't a suspect or anything?
Let me tell the story.
I'm just trying to understand what the hell's happening here.
You're not going to right now. Let me tell the story. But,
It's a hard nut to swallow.
Ew. The police responded, and Wardrip confessed to Tina's murder, which strikes me as odd, because he didn't have any remorse about any of the others that we know of. So,
I'm sorry, did he know her?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
But also he had, nobody knows about that he was the one that killed the others or whatever.
Right.
But what I think is maybe he killed Tina for looking like his wife, and by extension he felt bad. Like maybe he had some feelings lingering for her, and they
Maybe he left a
after
fuck ton of clues and was freaking out that he was going to get caught. Is that a possibility?
No. But those lingering feelings surfaced after he killed this woman, Tina, who, because she reminded him she reminded
But they all
him
did.
of
They
her.
were all the same exact victim type.
No, but this one looked like her. This one,
But I thought they all looked alike.
well, they all have the same build. But I think this one, I think Tina looked like her. Like, actually did look like her.
Like, most closely resembled her.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. This is crazy. He's to put it technically, off his fucking rocker. He's doing this stuff, like, you know what I mean, like a madman. I mean, one of the first ones, he just literally breaks down the door, he's in a psychotic state.
Yeah, he's unhinged. He just bounces all around, and there's no organization. He just
Yeah.
just total opportunity.
People he
Police-
knows, people he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Police think that he confessed because he knew that he had been seen leaving the apartment. But when they initially took the call, they thought that it had been an accident. Because Sheena had a 2-story apartment, and it looked like she had fallen from the railing on the top floor.
Christ.
But it didn't take too long for them to find out that she had been suffocated.
You always hear about this. They're like, it was an accident.
No,
How's she
that's
like?
that's what they thought initially when they walked in and found the scene. That's what they thought. But Tina was a miracle baby. Her parents weren't supposed to be able to have kids. Tina's father, Robert, got to sit face to face with Wardrip, and he was expecting Charles Manson to come through the door, but Wardrip was clean, well-groomed, soft-spoken, and polite, and he apologized face to face to him for killing Tina. Robert told Wardrip that he
This is when he's
him.
sober, though, right? At least he's been in...
Yeah, well, he's been in jail. But hold on. This is crazy. He hated him for robbing him of the opportunity to become a grandfather. Wardrip then, pay attention, Wardrip then told Robert how it happened. And what he was saying was actually the details of how Terry Sims had been killed. Robert then said, no, you suffocated her with a pillow for 7.5 minutes. Wardrip was confused. And they just chalked it up to the drugs, and they never really looked into it any further.
He's got schizophrenia.
He's giving details. He's giving details on a fucking another murder that he had committed, and they didn't look into it.
He's got serious mental problems.
Yeah.
Mental issues.
Well, and he's so messed up every time he kills somebody, he can't
Blacked
keep
out.
it straight. They're just right. Layered on top of each other.
I call that my 20s.
But this is a first. This is a first in my research into serial killers.
Yeah, and no one picked up on it. Nobody
picked up on it. But you know what? I wanted to do a Dick Darwin on this, but the more I got into it, the cops redeemed themselves, and we'll get to that. So I couldn't after completing
because at this point they don't know that they have a serial killer on their hands.
Right.
They think that there's this guy who's a one-off, that he killed this girl, and then had to freak out, and he confessed, which makes it look like it, honestly. I mean, to play the devil's advocate for the police a second, if a guy calls and is like, I freaked out and killed this girl, you're like, well, if he's that guilt-ridden, it's probably his first one. It must be his first one. He must not have killed somebody. You're not going to assume there's 4 other fucking bodies somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Right. But Wardrip pled guilty, and he was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks to Jessica and Matt for joining us on this episode. We'll see you next week.
You know how many listeners he just lost trying to be funny?
No.
You're like, okay, doop, 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 doop. We're not going anywhere, people.
Nope.
He's just kidding around.
Yeah. Because, wait, there's more. Bum, bum, bum.
Second act.
Act 2.
Wardrip was... That's such a weird name.
What a name, dude. I love his weird name, Wardrip.
Wardrip.
That's creepy. It's kind of... It sounds like sexual assault during a fucking...
Yeah, it does.
Some kind of takeover.
His last name says that he's a sex fiend.
Well, I mean, let's not. Yeah. Now I'm feeling better. Somebody named Wardrip listening to this. I'm sorry. It's a beautiful name.
Yeah, as long as it's not Faryion.
You try to be funny and you just fuck things up. That's why we never laugh on my podcast.
Well, this is CKCB. We make fun of the bad guys. But Wardrip was paroled in December of 1996. He said
and
that,
so that wasn't. So what? Was it still the 80s when he got popped, or was it the 90s yet? Was it 89?
It's in the 80s. It was in the 80s when he got popped. So
6 years later, 7 years later.
He was paroled in 1996. He said that while in prison, he got off drugs, and his
8 years.
His demons went away. He found God.
8 years in prison for murdering a woman. That sounds about fair.
He got his high school diploma.
I mean, shit, dude, 8 years. It's almost like, why not?
He was paroled. He was sentenced to 35 years, but he was paroled.
35 years for killing a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah,
life imprisonment? How about they should probably not get let out again? Maybe you think? Maybe possibly. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
And this is
on,
Texas. Why they're not going to just kill him? I mean, I'm not even into that, but that's maybe a possibility. There, he kind of killed somebody.
We did name our electric chair Old Sparky. I mean, hello. So yeah.
That's a cliche. So did Florida.
No, Florida did it first.
Yeah.
Whatever. We've murdered more criminals than any other state in the nation. So there you go.
Yeah, but we called it Old Sparky.
Congratulations.
We called it Old Sparky.
That's something to brag about, right?
Yeah.
But I was going to say...
This is fun, right? Are we having fun or what?
I was going to say that maybe it was... But he got paroled in the 90s, so it couldn't be when they were paroling all those criminals in the 80s because of overcrowding, so that's not even... That's not even a reason. No.
See, we don't know that much.
No.
Is this guy from some rich ass parents or something? Has he got some
crazy
ass lawyers?
We don't
or
know.
What?
That's
we don't know.
I mean, he must. There's no way, dude.
I don't know.
Dude, people go to jail for longer than that for fucking drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
that's crazy.
But
non-violent drug offenders. You know,
he was. Hold on. Listen, I'm going to read that last paragraph again. Yeah, this is what it was. He basically got let off for good behavior. He was paroled in '96. He said that while in prison,
he may have killed that woman, but hey, he was real cool in jail. All right.
He got off drugs. His demons went away. He got his high school diploma, and he found God.
Hey, you guys, my demons went away. I found God. Let's do this.
Yeah.
You know what, son? All right, let's let you out. What the?
Let's go back into society. Okay.
They always
find he's like my sock that I can't. Oh, I found Jesus over there. There you go. You will never guess this. He was in my prison cell under the thing the whole time.
People make a lot of money off of getting fucking criminals pardoned.
Yeah. All the time.
But,
it's scary.
I mean, I'm into the Innocence Project where they go and find people that are innocent.
Oh my gosh, y'all need to listen to Bone Valley. If you want to listen
I listened to it, I think.
Did you?
Did
you see that he finally got paroled? He got out this week, y'all. He
Really?
was released this week. Yes.
I got an alert saying that, yeah.
That poor man finally got out of prison.
Nice.
You need to do an update on that episode on your podcast, but be careful because somebody might call you unoriginal.
Well, they can bite me. That's all I have to say.
Under the last podcasts on the left, I had already done. So I'm just going to say Marcus Parks, totally unoriginal. He's copying me, obviously. They're obviously fucking copying me.
Yeah. By the way, that's not real. We're ragging on somebody, and you know who it is. If you know, you know. If you know what, if you know, you know.
I'm just teasing.
So, anyway, Cheetah's father spent that entire time that he was in prison because he was up for parole. He was eligible for parole, trying his damnedest to make sure that Wardrip stayed in prison.
Yeah, right.
He only served
that
11
works too,
years.
dude. When the family members go to a parole board, they listen to them.
Didn't work this time.
That is fucked up. And in Texas.
But he only served 11 years of a 35 sentence, and I've got questions. Mainly, why wasn't his DNA tested against the DNA that they had on file from the other crime scenes?
Oh, I can answer that pretty easy.
Well, he wasn't.
Hold on.
Not only that, it's 1995. You know how expensive it was? And yeah, there wasn't even a CODIS yet, I don't think.
God, wait, will you let me finish my fucking rant? He confessed to this one, but you have 3 other cases that are cold, and Wichita Falls at this point. Your only suspect had been released due to lack of evidence, forensic evidence, which resulted in a mistrial. So why wasn't his DNA compared to the others? And what about fingerprint? what about the fingerprint on Terry Sims' shoe? Why wasn't DNA ever run on the, on what was found under Deborah Taylor's fingernails and then compared to 10?
Well, DNA, I can understand the DNA at that time, but a fingerprint? They've been nailing fingerprints forever, dude, since the 30s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And when they arrested him for this one murder, they took his fingerprints.
1947, when Black Dahlia was murdered, the FBI had her name from a fingerprint within, like, days, dude.
Yeah.
And that's, like, old school. 1947, dude.
But put a knife in that. I was considering doing a Dick Darwin for this one, but I can't. Because the police get it together. And I'll tell you why toward the end of the episode, which we are nearing.
So let me get this straight, dude. He had already gone to court and had a mistrial because one juror. Oh no, never mind. That was
the
stripper.
The stripper.
I apologize. I deeply apologize. I'm not keeping it together.
I had one too many on his motorbike.
Right, I love that guy. I'm gonna go find him and hang out with him. Start a podcast with him. Like, you into true crime, bro?
He's like, well, I am now since I was a suspect in a murder.
Wardrip.
Let me get my microphone.
Wardrip then moved to Olney, Texas?
Yes.
Olney?
Olney. Olney.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you say it good. Olney.
Olney. Mm-hmm.
Olney. Love it.
Olney.
And you know
Calm
what?
down, Ronnie James Dio.
I did another
Anthrax
podcast. I did another episode on another lady that was brutally murdered in Olney. So there you go.
Wow.
Really?
They don't have
well,
good
he
luck.
didn't kill
It's a small town.
Well, he didn't kill anybody in Olney. Spoiler.
Well, true.
But it's a small town halfway between Fort Worth and Wichita Falls. Mm-hmm. I may or may not have driven through that town. I don't know. But
I know you did.
His parents.
Bill accidentally confessed.
8 siblings were living there. His parents were still busy. Apparently.
Good grief! I'll say when we last reported, he only had 2. Now he's got 8. Mm-hmm. Good Lord!
That's 9 altogether.
10.
Right?
10. 9 or 10. 9 or 10. But they helped him out, and it's just
Are they fucking Mormons or something?
I gotta wonder
Maybe
how
they
much
didn't
of
have
that
cable.
Texas Mormons. They don't they have like the fundamentalist ones that get the multiple wives there and stuff?
They got shut down though. Warren Jeffs is in prison now. He got shut.
Oh
down.
no, but he got shut down. But they're in where are they? New Mexico? They're not in Utah. They're south of it, and they're still there. That church is still there. That land is still there, and they still consider him to be the prophet.
Oh,
and
yes.
they still worship him. They have it, and there's still 1 million people there married to 12-year-olds. They didn't even stop it.
But
yeah,
I do have a question. How much of Olney, Texas's population was just this fucking family?
I mean, it's not a big city. It's not a city. It's not a big town. I'm trying to remember when I did my episode.
It's only this many.
Yeah. It's like, look, I'm going to look it up right now, but I want to say like less than 5,000 people. So like they were a big chunk. I'm going to double check myself though.
Nice. See if there's a large congregation of Mormons there. I mean, what other kind of families have like that many kids? I mean, to have 10 kids, come on, that's strange. Dude.
I don't know. I went to school with.
And they weren't some evangelical, crazy motherfuckers of some sort or another.
No, but they were good Catholics. They didn't practice.
Catholics is the same thing. Yes, they're a crazy cult. Okay, there we go. They were Catholics. We had some crazy Catholics.
They don't believe in birth control.
They don't believe in birth control.
Okay, only.
And also, their early Catholic church was spread by having tons of kids. It was.
Here you go. Olney's population. In 2014, 3,221.
Damn, dude.
So,
That's
they were a
little.
big chunk of the population.
Yeah. So
that's not very big.
Anyway, Faryion
And that's where he's from. That's where his parents live.
Yeah.
Well, that's where they ended up. They were in
That's
Indiana.
where they ended up.
They were in Indiana, dude. I'm telling you, there's something going on with these guys. They got 10 kids. They're from Indiana. They're coming down to this tiny town in Texas.
It was Indiana.
Why the fuck would you come there?
It was Indiana, then Wichita Falls, and then Olney.
I mean, this would sound like some kind of crazy cult to me. I mean,
So then,
I'm a true crime guy. My mind is going nuts,
Okay, and so I'm also thinking about the fact that I thought he just kind of lost touch with his family. So he does. So he's kept up with them though in some form or fashion because he goes back to them. That's interesting.
They could be werewolves.
Maybe. That's why he blacks out. He's in his lycanthrope form and he doesn't remember what he did.
It's the truth. I mean, that's more true than false. Because alcohol will turn you into a beast too.
True. I agree. I think it was the alcohol more than the drugs.
It's not always the moon.
Got him.
I think alcohol is a drug. One of the hardest.
It can be because it's also socially
especially
acceptable.
vodka.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's also whiskey and tequila, but it's socially acceptable. So yes, I think it's.
But those flavored ones, like you know what I mean? Like there's something about just pure mineral, just alcohol. Like someone. I know when you see someone they pour like a cup of vodka and shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, it's your fucking. And they'll put like a little bit of orange juice.
Yeah, like just a splash.
2
just
drops.
For color.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking gnarly.
Mm.
So, and
Phil's like, are y'all done? Can I get back to the topic?
It killed my fucking friend from Austin, man. That's how he died, dude.
Yeah, we still got a little ways to go, but anyway, and this is kind of like a weird BTK tie-in because BTK had a job as like a security system installer, and he liked he liked the like the sliding glass doors and stuff like that. Well, Faryion got a job at a screen door company. Yeah, okay, that's a stretch. I get it. Okay,
Service industry. You have to come. You have an appointment for installation. I get it. I see the tie. Yeah, I see the tie.
Yeah, and you can fucking you could fuck with the lock if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Raider would do.
But he vowed to start his life over. God may have forgiven him for his murders, but man did not. And there were still 4 other unsolved murders that he was guilty of.
God's forgiven me. Shut the fuck up. No, he hasn't. No, she hasn't.
The people in town, his new circle of friends, loved him, and he became, like BTK, an active member in the church. He taught Sunday school and became an upstanding member of the community.
So he's not having any more psychotic breaks?
No. It was the drugs.
So it's not mental. It's got to be substance abuse. It's got to be alcohol.
Yeah. But he hadn't even he even remarried. He got somebody to
they all do. I don't know. That doesn't even surprise me, dude. The people that find each other, you're like, just wow. I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
All of this would be perfectly fine because, he had done his time and been released. If there weren't 4 other murders that he had gotten away with, bum, bum, bum. I'm not even going to put the fucking sound effect in there. I'm just going to leave it like that. That was awesome.
You better not, motherfucker.
You were good,
that was
man.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
But Wichita Falls DA Barry Macha hadn't forgotten about the 3 murders. He asked the detective, John Little, to take a fresh look at the cold cases. He and his wife knew Tony Gibbs and John Little. He and his wife had known Tony Gibbs, so it was personal to him. The DNA from semen recovered from Tony Gibbs and Terry Sims was analyzed, and they, of course, matched. And that was when they realized that they had been dealing with a serial killer.
Bum, bum, bum.
I
love
I'm
this
gonna
part of the
replace.
story. You're like, yes,
I'm gonna.
justice is coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna replace our bum 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 sound effect with the two of you doing it in harmony.
10 cents every time. Every listen.
That's right.
Every download.
Do you have our permission?
These three
I already
murders had all
uploaded it to
been.
YouTube, so they'll know. You'll get flagged.
These three murders have all been investigated by different jurisdictions. And in the 80s, they weren't known for their communication and cooperation between jurisdictions. And this is why I couldn't do a Dick Darwin for this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, that time period, that was the way it was. The killers often knew it. I don't know if this idiot knew it. He's a fucking moron.
But these
the smart
these cops,
ones knew it.
these cops, these great police work coming. One of the things that Little came up with when he started digging was that Wardrip was in custody for Cheetah Kimbrough. A police officer asked him if he knew who Ellen Blau was. He said he did know her, but that lead was never followed up on. Ellen's best friend, Jamie
You
Ball.
know this murder girl? Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Ellen's best friend, Janie Ball, had lived in the same apartment as Ellen, and she had also, like, I seen that guy. He creeped me out. This apartment was a block away from where Terry Sims had been killed. Little also figured out that Wardrip. That's what I was about to say. Wardrip had worked at the same hospital that Tony Gibbs had worked at. So Little.
What do we covet, Clarice? We covet what we see every day.
So Little decided to go to Olney because that's where Wardrip has lived since his parole, and he wanted to get a DNA sample from him. So he followed Wardrip for weeks, waiting for him to throw something away. Finally, he saw Wardrip take a coffee break outside of his job. Wardrip set the cup on top of his car, while he was opening the door. Then he grabbed it, and he took one last sip, and then he tossed it into a trash barrel, likely like a 55-gallon drum. Bum, bum, bum.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you do better research.
What do you
Couldn't
got?
45-gallon.
You asshole.
You're like likely a 50-gallon barrel. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I'm just having fun, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a blast. I hope our listeners find it, too. But we got we got the lead on 3 podcasts going at it here. So
ass,
what do you
dude.
expect?
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Good. This is quality radio.
So John Little was a lot of things, but tobacco-free was not one of them.
This is great right here.
He had a wad of chewing tobacco in his mouth. He ran across the street and he asked Wardrip if he had a spit cup.
Oh,
Wardrip
what?
This is clutch. He's coming in like this was. I read this. I was like, yes.
This is some of the most badass shit I've ever heard.
I know.
Texas represent too, dude.
This is why. This is why I could.
I've heard some dude go, "Man, you got something I can spit in."
Yeah.
Like
This is why I couldn't do a Dick. This is why I couldn't do a Dick Darwin on this episode.
Yeah.
But Wardrip pointed to the trash barrel that he had just thrown his coffee cup away in. But when he looked into the barrel, he saw not one, but many identical coffee cups. But he remembered...
I only want to spit in yours, sir. Could you let me know?
Yeah. But he remembered when he was stalking Wardrip out, before he tossed the coffee cup, he had seen Wardrip eating cheese crackers. So he looked on the top of the pile for a cup that had cheese cracker crumbs around the rim, and he found one and he grabbed it.
I mean, that is some top-notch detective work.
Yes! Fuck yeah.
I mean, and I am not being facetious. I am serious.
No, that's incredible.
Do you think that when he knelt down and reached into that can, he was at a point where he couldn't see him, he busted out an actual magnifying glass? It was like...
Maybe. Or
no, it's just...
Cause that's some
he was
detective
like,
right shit.
He was
right
like... he was like whispering. He's like, I got you. Like...
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So the cup was sent to the forensic lab to be tested. The DNA was compared to the DNA from Terry Sims and Tony Gibbs, and it, of course, was an exact match. They ran a DQ alpha test at the,
No.
you know.
Turns out he was a beta.
Well, his DNA strain was extremely rare, and they determined that profile would only occur once in the entire world's population.
That's
7 billion
crazy.
and counting.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, it's not saying that it's impossible.
So John Little was ecstatic, and the forensic lab was able to get the DNA from the bloody print on Terry Sims' shoe.
They got
The
DNA
print-
off that?
Huh?
They got the DNA off that?
Yeah. The print was from the lower part of the finger, like where a ring would go. So that's why it had been overlooked. But it matched Wardrip.
Nice.
Faryion Wardrip was arrested and taken back to Wichita Falls, where he was presented with the evidence, and he confessed. But guess who was doing the interrogation?
Little?
Little?
Yep. It was
Right.
John Little. Once they had the confession for everything, John asked Wardrip if he recognized him. You remember me? You ever see me before? He said that he didn't recognize him, and if he did, he sure as hell didn't show it. Yeah, he was completely. I think he did. I think he did recognize him, but he was completely cold during the confession, and he finally remembered the correct sequence of events in Tina Kimbrough and Terry Sims' murders.
So he confessed.
That's when, all he did was confess. But that's when he also told the police about Deborah Taylor in Fort Worth. They called Ken 16 years later and told him that they got the guy that killed his wife, and he was exonerated in his wife's murder.
Jesus Christ. I still think he's guilty.
Ken Taylor was obviously happy. And he handled it a lot better than I would. A lot better than I would have.
What would you have done? Like set the shopping mall on fire or something?
No, I would have gone on a big fuck you spree to everybody in town. I would have sued that former boss of his because it's illegal to trash somebody like that when they call you for a job reference. All they can legally do is verify that you work there and whether you or not you're eligible for rehire.
Rehire. That is true.
That's a fucking lawsuit.
It is.
That's a fucking lawsuit right there. But
maybe you should contact him. Send him a Facebook ad. Be like, you may be entitled to compensation.
Morgan to Morgan. But Ken said on camera that Wardrip had better be glad that the police got him before he did.
Good for him.
Yeah. Ken and Deborah's daughter is a dead ringer, spitting image of Deborah. Her name was Jennifer. She and Ken were always close as she grew up, but she says that it was hard growing up looking just like Deborah. People who knew and loved Deborah found it hard to talk to her as she grew up. I've seen, in one of the documentaries, she's there and dead ringer, spitting image. I mean, but this also exonerated Danny Laughlin and the Tony Gibbs murder, but unfortunately he was killed 3 years earlier in a car crash.
Oh.
But
on his bike.
I said car crash, so. But
He could have been hit on while he's riding his. We're talking about the stripper, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I just want to remember him on his bike. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I just see him going into the sunset, man. Like down one of those Texas roads with like sagebrush on the side, dust coming out of the back of his tire. He's got his headphones on. He's listening to Molly Hatchet.
And he didn't realize that there was a cliff coming up, and
yes.
Yeah.
And then another car came from nowhere and hit him, and they're like, car accident. No one acknowledged the fact that he was actually on a dirt bike.
He was just
so you mean a COVID death?
Being
living
beautiful.
the life. Yeah.
You mean a COVID death?
Yeah.
A what?
A COVID death.
A COVID death? Maybe. You never know.
So, October.
Samuel Little
4th,
died of COVID.
So did Robert Durst. Complications of COVID.
Yes, so did Durst.
Daniel or Samuel?
Huh? Samuel Little?
You said Daniel.
No one really knows this, but his middle name was Daniel, and that's what he went with. At least that's a rumor,
Yeah.
I just started it. But it is.
A rumor that you just started. October 4th, 1999, Faryion Wardrip was found guilty of murder. He claimed that he had committed the murders because he was under the influence of drugs and alcohol.
I hate drugs because I want to know: is he on coke? Is he smoking angel dust? Is he meth? It's probably meth. He must be on meth and alcohol because a lot of people get high on meth and they drink alcohol to like take off the edge.
Yeah,
you'll see him like with like a literal bottle, like a fucking handle.
I couldn't find any. I
chugging
couldn't find anything that's. I couldn't find anything that specified.
In these psychotic states.
No, I read several different articles and then watched the one investigation discovery thing, and they would just say drugs. The only time they ever specified was when he got in trouble when he was still
It wasn't magic mushrooms.
Maybe. But yeah, no one ever specified it. The only time there was anything specific was when they talked about him getting in trouble while he was still in the military. But that was it.
And that was weed.
Yeah, that was weed. I mean, that usually makes you all mellow.
No, the weed is not the culprit of this.
No.
Hey.
No.
I have a little friend. You want to see her?
Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, look at the puppy.
Aw.
Go on.
So, Wardrip's attorney argued that he wasn't a danger if they gave him a life sentence. But this is Texas we're talking about here.
For 5 murders now? Have we got them all?
Yeah, 5, yes.
Yep.
Faryion Wardrip was given the
He's a
death
dead man.
sentence, lethal injection.
Yeah.
15 years after the first murder, and the families of Terry Sims, Tony Gibbs, and Deborah Taylor, Ellen Blau, Tina Kimbrough, not to mention Ken Taylor, Danny Laughlin, finally had justice. But the story isn't over yet.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum.
Wardrip said in interviews that he never thought that he was going to get away with it. He knew that he had left evidence and everything, and the DNA Barry Maka admits that mistakes were made, but he says that the biggest mistake wasn't made, and that would have been to quit. So, bravo, D.A. Maka.
Nice.
Yeah. Wardrip filed several appeals claiming that his attorney was ineffective. In April 2010, the federal court conditionally granted a relief that stopped the death sentence and ordered that
Texas,
Wardrip
so liberal.
was...
Open-minded.
You caught me off guard with that one. Okay, where the hell was I? They stopped the death sentence and ordered that Wardrip was to be released if the state didn't start proceedings for a new trial or agree to a life sentence within 180 days. That ruling was reversed by the U.S. Court of Appeals on June 14, 2011. It was sent back to the U.S. District Court for further consideration. In December of 2014, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals dismissed Wardrip's appeal about inadequate representation. In September 2020, the district court reversed the relief, and the death sentence was reinstated on Wardrip. Wardrip is still on death row at the Pulaski unit near Livingston, Texas. It's a supermax facility.
They never killed him? He's still alive?
He's still alive.
Oh, wow.
But that's where all of Texas's death row inmates are. Notable neighbors of Wardrip include Tommy Lynn Sells, which Jessica has covered.
Yep.
William Reese, who CKCB and Texas True Crime have covered.
Yep.
And
one of the only convicted killers out of the killing fields near Houston. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the craziest cases you'll ever hear, too.
Dude, yeah.
It's not quite as crazy as this one, but close.
Yeah.
But you know what? I really do think that Wardrip genuinely was trying to go legit and be a good person. But you know what? You know,
I don't know, man.
after he got released and went to Olney, I really do think that he was trying to just
trying to not get caught until the opportunity presented itself again.
The bad thing is,
I really do believe that he was trying to chill out and just.
You think that's possible?
But you know what I think?
For a serial
he wasn't drinking anymore. He wasn't drinking and doing drugs anymore.
But,
so yeah, I do think it was possible.
But he has a slip, and then that's the only thing is it does seem to be substance triggered.
Right.
So he has a slip. Is it one time and he's good and he gets himself back straight, or is it going to automatically be some other person is his next victim? That's the bad part,
I mean, what happens if he just decides, hey, you know what? Yeah, I mean, hell, I quit drinking for 3 months. I only drink now when I do a podcast, but still,
I quit drinking for 3 months. Sorry,
ass. but still, I don't drink every night anymore. That's my point. I only drink when I do a podcast now because I have a podcast called Crime Skills and Beer. But
I'm so glad it's not called Crimes Killers Carlton Angel Dust. It would just be like just so nuts of the show, and then we'd all be like having to do it because we're on the show. Oh, it would
not be the same at all.
So, but no, I really do think that he was really trying to go legit, not do it anymore because he wasn't doing drugs, he wasn't drinking, or whatever. Once he got to Olney after he had been released, but. If you're going to commit murder or rape in this day and age, you are going to get caught thanks to DNA. And just with the advances that it's made over the past 25 to 30 years, just imagine the advances that it will make over the next 25 or 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Anything you might have gotten away with, will be slim to none.
I was thinking about that. What's that guy in Idaho's name? Brian Koberger?
Yeah.
He was a methodical, planned, sober. Yeah. He stalked them. He had it all worked out to a T, to mathematical precision.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He was able to come in there, do what he did, get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was definitely organized.
He got caught.
Yes.
This guy, he's fucking out of control. He's just like wasted. Fucking grabbing people off the fucking street, like doesn't even, you know what I mean? And he wasn't caught for all that time. It's amazing.
Yeah,
and it is. It's like modern technology, like they and not just DNA, though, just like the cameras everywhere. Which I'm not. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. But just as like I'm like kind of an outlaw spirit in me. I'm just like I don't want to be traced and followed. I'm not into being constantly filmed, but it does help catch killers, man. It's amazing. And it is what it is. You can't put it back. It's like a Pandora's box. Once it's out, it's not like you're going to stop it, but it catches a lot of these guys, man.
It does, yeah. It's a blessing and a curse, because I agree.
Exactly.
I'm a little bit like, I don't want you in my business. Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, then probably if there's
like freedom, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But, yeah. C'est la vie.
So,
yeah.
But, I mean, that's it. That's the case. It's definitely, it's definitely a head scratcher. But I mean, I really, when I was first going into this one, I really wanted to do a Dick Darwin on that. But once I got through it, I couldn't.
I want to know about his fucking family, dude. Did you say they were Catholic? They were Catholic, huh? Like,
well, we don't know that. I just said that I knew I know a family that they are Catholic and they have like.
Yeah,
10,
Catholics will have a bunch of kids. Yeah.
Kids because they're practicing Catholics. They're not, they
and they're
don't
horny.
believe in birth.
I think a lot of Catholics just aren't horny enough to do that.
Every sperm is sacred.
I mean? Unlike Mormons or something where they're like made to do it or something. They have to do it.
Yeah. So, I don't know if maybe they were.
You ever see that Monty Python routine? They're like,
every sperm is sacred.
Because they don't use protection and stuff. And he's like, she's like, well, we only have one child, and we've only done it that one time. And he's like, yes, honey, but if I wanted to.
Yeah. But I don't know. We don't know about his family. I do wish we knew more, just to know.
Oh, my God, yeah, dude. I got it. I mean, so what year was he born? You say the 50s? 60s? No.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I already closed out my notes, so I can't go back
10
and look.
10 kids. Ugh, Jesus Christ. Can you imagine?
I don't
what
know. No, because that would mean you were pregnant 10 years of your life. No, thank you.
Yeah, right?
I've been pregnant twice, and I don't want to revisit it.
Yeah.
I've never been pregnant.
All the things. Do you know what is so bad? And I'm a lucky person. Like, I wasn't sick. I didn't feel bad. I was so lucky. But it is that whole that, like, you can't, all these rules about things you can't do. And, of course, you're not going to do them. You're not going to do them because you don't want to then cause problems for your child. But you're like, man, I'm on restriction from everything.
Yeah.
Don't even climb up on a stool.
And your male partner's over there like, I support you, honey.
Oh. Yeah. My husband was like, he was like, I have a designated driver. I was like, oh.
My God.
Just
see, now I may have thought that, but I didn't say it.
He was really good, but he would love to tease me. He was really good, but he loved to tease me because he knew it would get a rise out of me. But I was not a nice pregnant lady. I was real grouchy all the time. So, he probably needed a break.
I can't imagine why.
Right.
When my younger daughter was born, and she's in the kitchen right now, so she can hear every word I'm saying. And I don't know if I've ever told her this, but when she was born, her mother was in labor for a while, and I have my laptop in there, hooked up to Wi-Fi.
Wait, what?
And
Your laptop in where?
In the delivery room.
Okay.
But it's just I just had it. I just had it because I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't going to leave it there.
Right.
I wasn't going to.
Okay.
So I just had it. But then the doctor started, it's like, okay, you need to step back for a little while. And it was a long labor. So I started getting on freaking Facebook and everything. I'm just and I start narrating the freaking the birth procedure like I was narrating a football game.
Live streaming it?
No, I wasn't live. I was just like making posts, just like text posts. It's just like, all right,
She's
it's just
3
like,
millimeters dilated. This is happening.
False start.
Folks.
False start, 10-yard penalty.
Wow.
And God, that thing, it didn't go viral, but like a lot of people that I didn't know, because somebody
That's hot.
shared.
I can see that going viral. I mean, it's like it's just moving experience. You're like, oh my god, it's like they're having a baby. It's intense. It's an intense thing.
But I was like doing it like I was calling a football game.
Well, I mean, and it is kind of like a sporting event. You're like, and we're off. No, we're not.
But I only
my son, she was in labor for over 30 hours, and they ended up doing a C-section. He just wasn't budging. My wife was really small, and he was this huge fucking baby, and he just was not coming out, man.
We have some friends that the wife was in the same, just like that. And I was like, that's awful. Like, ugh. Yeah. I mean, when I say I was lucky, I was lucky. Fast labors, all under 5 hours. I was so lucky. So I don't really have a reason to be grouchy, except that I just didn't like the fact that I couldn't do anything.
I got to see a C-section. That was fun though.
That's crazy.
Well, I was just like, it's just like, it's just the doctor would tell me, okay, you can come back here, but when the doctor told me to fuck off, I fucked off. So,
like, I'm gonna do something else. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like,
I just pushed him aside. I was like,
it didn't go viral, but it really could have.
Give me the knife.
The way I was doing it.
I'm gonna cut her open.
Here, I'll do this.
When my daughter was born, we were watching The Sopranos, and it was at this shootout in the desert, dude. You know what I'm talking about? The main part of The Sopranos. And my wife comes, she's like, my water broke. I'm like, just hold on, and then we go to the hospital, man. I'm like, okay, this is serious. Go to the hospital, get in there. There's a flat screen TV on the wall. I'm like, dude, we're going to put on The Sopranos and see what happens. She's like, you fucking put on The Sopranos. I'm not going to give birth to The Sopranos. I'm not The Sopranos. I keep saying Sopranos. Breaking Bad.
Oh, shit, we lost it. Oh, there.
But anyway.
Well, this is so much fun. I really had a good time, you guys.
Me too. It was a blast.
It's a shame that those 5 women died, but besides that.
Yes.
No, it was. You don't have to say that. We all know that. We all know that.
I mean, and you know what? Unfortunately, everyone else is as interested as we are. So, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, otherwise we wouldn't get to do this. But everyone's as interested as we are. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, well, I mean, not everyone will be murdered, but
everyone will die
at some point.
True.
So. Anyway, thanks
On
a
that
hell of a lot for listening. And, we all appreciate the hell out of it. And, thanks to Texas True Crime Jessica. Just give them a little bit about your podcast.
So, Texas True Crime is all crimes based in Texas, with every now and then just a little something of spooky thrown in. Mainly just true crime, though, and all Texas based.
Right. And Matthew, the mighty Murder Coaster.
Oi. Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
It was lots of fun.
You want to tell them a little bit about your podcast in case
you
this
wanna
is
hear about
somebody's
Murder
first
Coaster?
episode? Yes.
Murder Coaster Podcast. We are two horror writers, Krista Carmen and Matthew Brockmeyer, who delve into the carnival freak show aspects of true crime, bringing you the most depraved and insane murders of history and delving into the bizarre aspects of them. It's haunting, it's thrilling, it's tantalizing, it's spine-chilling. Tune in. Murder Coaster Podcast.
Yeah, and I called them the mighty Murder Coaster because they are mighty.
We are mighty. We're like a train barreling down the tracks, coming right at you.
Anyway, thanks for listening. And, if you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell an enemy. And until next week, later.
Bye.
Bye.